Okay, the range of suffering. Yesterday, we have explored the three criteria of suffering. Firstly, this is the full and accurate picture of the range of suffering. Second is the correct analysis. And the third is the path itself. Today, we are going to explore deeper on the range of suffering. So this point, the first point, it will be expanded further in the paragraph, in the 3 paragraphs below. Yeah. So if we have more time, we would probably cover the second criteria as well on a more elaborate basis. Okay, so I will start reading the first paragraph, then I will pass it to someone else. The range of suffering. The Buddha does not merely touch the problem of suffering tangentially. He makes it rather the very cornerstone of his teaching. He starts the Four Noble Truths that sum up his message with the announcement that life is inseparably tied to something he calls dukkha. The Pali word is often translated as suffering, but it means something deeper than pain and misery. It refers to a basic unsatisfactoriness running through our lives, the lives of all but the enlightened. Sometimes this unsatisfactoriness erupts into the open as sorrow, grief, disappointment, or despair. But usually it hovers at the edge of our awareness as a fake, unlocalized sense that things are never quite perfect, never fully adequate to our expectations of what they should be. This fact of dukkha, the Buddha says, is the only real spiritual problem. The other problems, the theological and the metaphysical questions that have taunted religious thinkers through centuries, he gently waves aside as matters not tending to liberation. What he teaches, he says, is just suffering and the ending of suffering, dukkha and its cessation. Okay, so any volunteers for the next paragraph? Okay, if not, then I will arrow. How about Billy?
Okay, I'll take it. The Buddha does not stop with generalities. He goes on to expose the different forms that dukkha takes, both the evident and the subtle. He starts with what is close at hand, with the suffering inherent in the physical process of life itself. Here, dukkha shows up in the events of birth, aging, and death, in our susceptibility to sickness, accidents, and injuries, even in hunger and thirst. It appears again in our inner reactions to disagreeable situations and events. In the sorrow, anger, frustration, and fear aroused by painful separations, by unpleasant encounters, by the failure to get what we want. Even our pleasures, the Buddha says, are not immune from dukkha. They give us happiness while they last, but they do not last forever. Eventually, they must pass away. And when they go, the loss leaves us feeling deprived. Our lives, for the most part, are strung out between the thirst for pleasure and the fear of pain. We pass our days running after the one and running away from the other, seldom enjoying the peace of contentment. Real satisfaction seems somehow always out of reach, just beyond the next horizon. Then, in the end, we have to die, to give up the identity we spent our whole life building, to leave behind everything and everyone we love.
Thanks, Billy. Would you like to nominate someone to read the next one?
Oh, yeah, I'll just see who comes next in my Saikyam comes next.
Thank you. But even death, the Buddha teaches, does not bring us to the end of the path. For the life process does not stop with death. When life ends in one place, with one body, the mental continuum, the individual stream of consciousness, springs up again elsewhere with a new body as its physical support. Thus, the cycle goes on over and over, birth, aging, and death, driven by the thirst for more existence. The Buddha declares that this round of rebirth, called samsara, the wandering, has been turning through beginningless time. It is without a first point, without temporal origin. No matter how far back in time we go, we always find living beings, ourselves in previous lives, wandering from one state of existence to another. The Buddha describes various realms where rebirth can take place. Realms of torment, animal realm, the human realm, realms of celestial bliss. But none of these realms can offer a final refuge. Life in any plane must come to an end. It is impermanent, thus marked with the insecurity, which is the deepest meaning of dukkha. For this reason, one aspiring to the complete end of dukkha cannot rest content with any mundane achievement, with any status, but must win emancipation from the entire unstable will.
Okay, thanks, Saikyam. Okay, so we have read 3 paragraphs. Let's step back and then see whether there's any comments or thoughts on what we have read. Anyone? For me, what is the most relatable is firstly the second paragraph, because it does pertain to what I experience on a daily basis, especially the part about pleasures. Because on a day-to-day basis, of course, I'm always looking for pleasures. So for example, entertainment, Netflix, or even just for food. I always look for food that tastes good. And yeah, so but it is a happiness that do not last. That's the one thing. And they must pass away. When they pass away, the pleasure pass away, the loss leave me feeling deprived. That's one. And all these 3 paragraphs, if you can link back to the first criteria, is that the first criteria needs to give a full and accurate picture of suffering. So I think this paragraph does cover pretty extensively about the ranges of suffering. And the third paragraph especially, it still covers the part that even death, it does not bring an end to suffering. So this is also one reason that suicide is usually always discouraged. Yeah, not even just among Buddhists, but even for non-Buddhists, usually suicide is something that people recognize to be something that is wrong. Most people. So that's what I can say about these three paragraphs. How about others? Okay, if there is no comment, I think we can continue reading. The causes of suffering. Okay, Sai Kiang, would you like to nominate the next one?
Lin Thoi.
Okay, the causes of suffering. A teaching proposing to lead to the end of suffering must, as we said, give a reliable account of its causal origination. For if we want to put a stop to suffering, we have to stop it where it begins, with its causes. To stop the causes requires a thorough knowledge of what they are and how they work. Thus, the Buddha devotes a sizable section of his teaching to laying bare the truth of the origin of dukkha, the origin he locates within ourselves, in a fundamental melody that permeates our being, causing disorder in our own minds, and vitiating our relationships with others and with the world. The sign of this melody can be seen in our proclivity to certain unwholesome mental states called in Pali kilesas, usually translated defilements. The most basic defilements are the triad of greed, aversion, and delusion. Greed, lobha, is self-centered desire, the desire for pleasure and possessions, the drive for survival, the urge to bolster the sense of ego with power, status, and prestige. Aversion, dosa, signifies the response of negation expressed as rejection, irritation, condemnation, hatred, enmity, anger, and violence. Delusion, moha, means mental darkness, the thick coat of insensitivity which blocks our clear understanding.
Thanks, Lin Thoi. Yeah, before I continue, I think there are some words that might not be familiar to you.
Yeah, there are a few words here that I don't know.
Okay, so maybe we can define the words, and it's a good opportunity to improve our vocabulary too.
Yes.
Yeah, which one, Lin Thoi?
For example, here, proclivity.
Okay.
Yes.
So I can just directly search Google. Proclivity. Okay, proclivity means a tendency to choose or do something regularly, an inclination or predisposition towards a particular thing.
Mm.
And how about melody?
I think melody, I'm not sure if the context here is what I know. Can you search too?
Yeah, I think it's like disease, right? Let's check. Disease or ailment.
Yeah.
Okay. And permeates?
This is like is it like manifest?
Okay, let's check. Yeah, spread through something or perfect. Yes. So it's like, yeah. Anything else? Yeah. If there are any other words, just let me know. We can quickly define it. But vitiating our relationship. Let's define this. Spoil or impair the quality or efficiency of. Okay, I think this is a little bit too small for you. Okay, oopsie. Okay, if not, then let's continue the second paragraph. Lin Tai, would you like to nominate?
Yes, could I ask Tracy, please?
Okay.
From these three roots emerge the various other defilements: conceit, jealousy, ambition. How you read that word?
Lethargy.
Lethargy, arrogance, and the rest. And from all these defilements together, the roots and the branches comes Dukkha in its diverse forms, as pain and sorrow, as fear and discontent, as the aimless drifting through the round of birth and death. To gain freedom from suffering, therefore, we have to eliminate the defilements, but the work of removing the defilements has to proceed in a methodical way. It cannot be accomplished simply by an act of will, by wanting them to go away. The work must be guided by investigation. We have to find out what the defilements depend upon and then see how it lies within our power to remove their support.
Okay, thanks, Tracy. Is there any difficult words here?
Just now I can't read that word.
Lethargy. Lethargy is like feeling weak or
Lethargy, is it?
no energy, something like that.
Lethargy, okay.
Yeah, but let's see what Google says. A lack of energy and enthusiasm.
Oh, okay, lethargy, okay. Okay, thanks.
It's like the opposite of being energetic, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Would you like to nominate the next person to close this?
I don't know who is in the list.
Actually, there are two more.
Yiling. Okay, wait. Yiling, please.
Who is it?
Yiling.
Yiling. Oh, she ran away.
Huh?
She ran away when you
Okay.
called her name.
Let me check another one. Mei Yan, please.
The Buddha teaches that there is one defilement which gives rise to all the others, one root which holds them all in place. The root is ignorance. Ignorance is not mere essence of knowledge, a lack of knowledge, particular pieces of information. Ignorance can coexist with a vast accumulation of itemized knowledge, and in its own way it can be tremendously sure Is sure,
Sure.
sure and reasonful. As the basic root of dukkha, ignorance is a fundamental darkness shrouding the mind. Sometimes its innocence operates in a passive manner, merely occurring correct understanding. At other times, it steps on an active road. It becomes the great deceiver, conjuring up a mass of distorted perceptions and conceptions which the mind grasps as attributes of the world, unaware that they are its own deduced contrasts.
Okay, thanks, Mayin. So any difficult words here? I think sure. Sure, let's define sure. Having or showing sharp powers of judgment, astute. And second definition, piercingly cold. But this one refers more to the weather. Any other word? Okay, if not, then I think I will just close this section quickly.
Marcel, sorry. There is a part of the sentence here I can't understand. I don't know what you think about it.
Okay.
The sentence, ignorance can coexist with a vast accumulation of itemized knowledge. Yeah, I don't quite get it, what it means here.
That's a good question. Actually, I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Yeah, the other part I think I can understand, but this sentence I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I can speculate, but I don't think it's good to do. Maybe we can put this as a list of questions we can ask Bhikkhu Bodhi if we have the chance. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
That is a good question. I'll note this down. I just type this in the chat.
Marcel,
Yes?
maybe can we ask the whole sentence? Because I don't, I'm trying to understand, like it says, on its own way, it can be tremendously shrewd and resourceful. I think this one refers to ignorance in its own way, it can be tremendously shrewd and resourceful, right? So I don't know how, to interpret that ignorance as resourceful, because ignorance I always think as negative, but resourceful is always very positive. So yeah, maybe if we can ask Venerable as well.
Okay, yeah. I will ask if we can, if we.
Thank you.
Yeah, if he's willing to answer us, yeah, this is one that we can ask. But does any of you probably have some thoughts on this sentence? But for me, it does feel like whatever our worldly knowledge. Okay. I'm really not sure. Yeah, we will leave this to the expert.
The first part, I read it as it can coexist even if you are very knowledgeable, we are ignorant, okay? But the second part, yeah, that's why I'm lost.
Okay, we will put this question, keep in view of this. So thanks, Lin Tai, for bringing this up, and so that we have something to ask Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi. Okay, so let me continue and close this session by reading the last paragraph. In these erroneous perceptions and ideas, we find the soil that nurtures the defilements. The mind catches sight of some possibility of pleasure, accepts it at a face value, and the result is greed. our hunger for gratification is thwarted, obstacles appear, and upspring anger and aversion. Or we struggle over ambiguities, our sight clouds, and we become lost in illusion. With this, we discover the breeding ground of dukkha. Ignorance issuing in the defilements issuing in suffering. As long as this causal matrix stands, we are not yet beyond danger. We might still find pleasure and enjoyment, sense pleasures, social pleasures, pleasures of the mind and heart. But no matter how much pleasure we might experience, no matter how successful we might be at dodging pain, the basic problems remains at the core of our being, and we continue to move on within the bounds of dukkha. Okay, so that's it for this section. Any comments again? And any lines that you don't understand as well? We can compile all these our questions, and then we can send it maybe on a weekly basis to Venerable Nico Bodhi. So we are like the medium to reaching. Okay, if not, then let's wrap it up here. Let's recite together the dedication of merits. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了。普愿罪障悉消除，实是常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。Thank you everyone for participating. Have a good Wednesday ahead.
Thank you, Brother Marcel.
Thank you, Marcel. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks everyone. Thank you, Marcel.
Thank you.